We're very happy to have you today. We're here with the Institut Français de la Mode, so very important fashion school here in Paris, to present to you the dual degree that we have with this school. So you have here, should be on the right side of your screen, you have the possibility to write your questions. So whether you have questions about the program, what you're going to study, any specific question on the fashion industry, for example, you can ask them here. We will present the double degree and we will answer your questions at the end of this information session. So the whole presentation will be in English because the dual degree is in English. You can ask your questions in English or if in French as you prefer, and I can translate if necessary. So I am Ellen Frangel. I'm the marketing manager for the MIM program, and so yes, my role is, for example, to organize information sessions for our students. And I will now ask Anaïs Ravet to introduce herself.
Yes, hello everyone. I am Anaïs Ravet. I am the Director of Studies for the MIM, the Master in Management, and I'm very happy to be with you today to talk about this great partnership that we have with Institut Français de la Mode. And I will give the floor to Jamila to introduce herself.
So hi everybody, my name is Jamila Sediki. I'm a program manager on the Paris campus. So part of my missions involves French double degrees affairs. So when the webinar is finished, if you still have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. Kevin or Monica?
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. I'm the academic assistant of Monica's at IFM. I'm in charge of the fundamentals here in the MSc luxury, and I'm also in charge of admissions for IFM and this program.
And hi everyone, I'm very pleased to meet you, even if it's just virtually. So I am Monica Benzi. I am the director of the Master of Science in International Fashion and Luxury Management at Institut Français de la Mode, which is the program you might integrate if if you're interested, if you're accepted. So we'll talk about it later on.
Okay, so just before I let Monica present and Kevin present the program, for the ESCP student, I would like to give you some information on your ability to apply to this program. So this is an exchange program, a dual degree program that you can do during your M2 at ESCP. So it would replace your M2 at ESCP indeed. And we ask you then to have finished your Master 1, your M1, all the obligations of the M1. And we ask you to have studied at least one semester outside from Paris during the M1. Because you know that you have this international mobility obligation to be graduated from ESCP. So you can apply if you did a maximum of one semester in Paris in M1. Okay, so we will provide you the information about the application process during this presentation, and I already tell you now the date, the important date. You will have to apply before January 29th. Am I correct, Jamila? Yes.
29.
And you have to know that you will have your grades from M1 for those who apply in M1, but you can apply while you are in a gap year as well after M1. You will have the grades from M1 on January 28th. For the fall semester. Okay, so don't worry, you will have the grades just in time to apply for the dual degree, to prepare everything else, and then you will be able to provide your grades just in time before we send the applications to the IFM. So we will talk later on about the application, but I'm happy to give the floor to Monica Benzi, who will present the school and the program. And yes, one important information, this is an exchange of seats. So it's a non-paying program for ESCP students who will attend, will participate to this program. You only have to pay the ESCP fees. I know that's an important information, so I gave it right away. And we have 3 seats. So I will give the floor to Monica.
Thank you very much, Anaïs. So the objective of my short presentation is to introduce you first to the Institut Français de la Mode. You might know or not, so to let you know something about the school, what we do, how we organize, then to dig into the program I'm directing and that you might apply and integrate. So as I said, the MSc in International Fashion and Luxury Management. And then to give you some more other information about the timing and the admissions and in addition to that. Okay, so let's start. I'm not seeing the slides. Len?
You're not?
I'm not.
Anaïs, Jamila, can you see that?
Yeah, we see it.
Yes,
we
can
see it. So maybe it's just the display of the screen for you, Monica.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Let me see. Not yet. I actually don't see them, but I can just, I can do it anyway. I have this in my mind and in front of me, so don't worry. Okay, let's start. So what is the Institut Français de la Mode? So we are talking, as Anaïs said, about the IFM, ESCP double degree. So it's really a partnership, again, an exchange. But first, a few words about the school. Institut Français de la Mode so offers different kind of programs in fashion designs, management, and even in what we call savoir-faire, knowledge. So we're talking, of course, about management for yourself. There is there are summer school programs, and also we have an observatory and, of course, activities, a research center and laboratory for research activities, because we have permanent professors at any other schools doing research and contributing to literature in fashion and luxury management. We also have a very nice library, which is in fashion and luxury, so it's very one of the most completed in France concerning topic of fashion. Okay. Since we're talking about the school, I want to let you know that I'm just doing the webinar from the new premises, the new school, because we now have since not a long time, but last December, we moved into the new school. Well, actually, it's the same place. If you had been already around the Quai d'Austerlitz on the River Seine, you might have seen a strange building with the green tube. Well, that's Institut Français de la Mode. Until December 2020, we're occupying a part of it. And since December 2020, we are now occupying almost all of it, so we expanded. So we now have a brand new 8,000 square meters campus, which is really actually huge compared to the previous schools, with classrooms, of course, specific places for workshops, for design workshop, what we call the Fab Lab, so machines, because we have the design students, do-it-yourself workshop, and all the workshops dedicated to different, let's say, topic and materials in fashion. We have a photo studio, we have a CAD workshop, so it's beautiful. We are now in perfectly installed. So after the premises, a little bit of history about IFM. Because IFM, maybe it's a school, but it was created in 1986 by representative of the fashion industries and the French Ministry of Industry. So it was really a pioneer in fashion education. The idea came to create a school for the future professional in the fashion sector, either designers or managers, to bring them together. So today, as we said, we have bachelor programs we have management programs, we have also an MBA, and together with that, we also have all the savoir-faire and workshop that are developed together with the management and the creative part. But Institut Français de la Mode, it is also what we call the École de la Chambre syndicale de la couture parisienne, because we merged about 1.5 years ago. So IFM, which already existed with, as I said, the creative part, the design part, and the part, merged with the Chambre syndicale de la couture parisienne, which was much more ancient, created in 1927 by the French Federation of Haute Couture, and it's where students were and are still learning all the technical skills, how to master the different materials, leathers, textiles, and it's really a school of craftsmanship, of pattern making, integrated also with fashion design. So we integrated this schools in, as I said, 1.5 years ago, so that right now Institut Français de la Mode has 3 souls or 3 pillars. One is design, one is management, and one is, as I said, savoir-faire or know-how. So design and management were the heritage, and is really what is the DNA of Institut Français de la Mode. And savoir-faire, know-how, is what we integrated with l'École de la Chambre syndicale de couture de Paris. So we can say that IFM is a really complete and 360-degree school on fashion, because it goes from technicality to design and creativity to management. Okay, so and that's what I think makes I would say your student in marketing, the points of difference of compared to other schools. We are talking about management. I am directing the management, the management program. So we are talking about this second pillar. What's also interesting about IFM is that we work really hand in hand, and these are our partners and our founders and parts of the foundations with all the key fashion and the fashion houses in France. So you can see on the slide who our partner are, but part of the foundation. So from Burberry, Celine, Chanel, Chloe, Dior, you see there are the key players in the fashion sectors. And what is I mean, these are not names written on the paper or members on the foundation. What do they do? Well, first, they're here to create with us the future of fashion, as we say. So we create new programs together. We do business cases with them, so where students work as real consultants in groups. So we're working hand in hand with them, and they of course are there to welcome our students for the first internship, and then possibly for a more long-term collaboration. So it's not, as again, not just names put on paper, but they're really partners of the school. So let's, having said a few words about the school, let's dig into the program, the MSc in International Fashion and Luxury Management. And first, I want to tell you that how the program is structured, and then I'm going to explain you where you're going to integrate the program, because our program there are 2 years into this program, okay? What we call first year or fundamental year, and second year or core year. Actually, it depends. You can, as an international student, because we are talking about international students here, you can access our fundamental year if you have a 3-year bachelor degree, or our core year if you have a 4-year bachelor degrees. For you, we are talking about the core year. So that's where I'm going to focus on, okay? You're going to join a group of students. There are actually right now currently 62 students in the core year, so they're going to join them for this second year for us, okay? It's it runs from September to May, because after that, in June, we ask to complete the year to have a 6-month internship in any kind of position that might be related to fashion, and we'll see that later on, in one of the fashion and luxury companies. And of course, we'll help you finding the internship, because we have a career department and, as I said, partners. So you integrate what we call the MSc core year from September to May, and then from June on, but you have time to find an internship. You can find it right away. You have a 6-month internship, which is mandatory to complete the program. Okay. So as I said, we are in an international program. So I said, who are you? Who are we right now? I can speak to you about this class, which started in September, actually October this year, a little bit later, because there was, as you know, some trouble. There were some troubled times due to the pandemic, and we let the international students some more time to get the visas and everything. So this year was just exceptional, starting in October. So, but this class, we call it 2021, because they're going to get their diploma in 2021. We have in the core year 62 students, as I was saying, and among these 62 students, what is beautiful about this program is that we have 21 nationalities. Okay, and even in the first year, you're not concerned by it, but you're going to, see your colleagues of the first year. It's a smaller program. It's a smaller class, 30 students, and still 16 nationalities. So this is just really to pinpoint that you're going to be in an international environment. It doesn't mean that we don't have French students. We have French students, less than 1/3, but these are French students with a very international profiles, having studied abroad and work already abroad, maybe for an internship anyway, with an appetite for everything which is international, which I think it's your case, ESCP students. You have this appetite for being international and having the possibility of studying in different campuses. So that's also why we have this partnership with the USCP and USCP with us. I think there was this match. So what about you? We'll see, we'll discover the profile of the future students. If we go into some detail about the program, so it's really a mix of theory and more practical, I would say, and experiential learning. And I think what's also interesting, we have, of course, lectures with IFM professors and many professionals, so executive or directors or managers that come from different functions, can be merchandising, can be digital, can be marketing, and they come and they give lectures to our IFM students. So it is a mix, as again, of faculty and then professionals coming, and especially important right now with all the changes and the evolutions of the industry, to be really in touch what's the reality of the sector. We have creative workshop, so you can actually have a real workshop with real materials and have the experience also some machine and learn more about some products. We have, as I was saying before, real business cases, which means that we work with some fashion companies, and they, again, in groups, you're going to work. You have several business cases during the year. You're going to really work with the company, of course, with myself, also coached by professors at IFM, but from a brief or different brief of real issues that the company has, management issues, you're going to have to give recommendations in the end and present in front of the jury. The best, I would say, projects are often also presented in comité de direction, so really in front of the top executives of the company, which is super challenging. We have experiential learning. We have, of course, coaching. We have company visits and study trips. So study trips, they concern They concern trips there are 2 trips in spring in France to visit some textiles factories. There is a study trip as well in Italy with one of our partner in Milan, Bocconi University. So we have some lectures from them, from the MAFED, and which is the specialized program in fashion. And then afterwards, normally there is a trip also in the neighborhood of Florence, which, as you might know, it's an important district for fashion and leather in particular. Okay. If you can see now the slides where you have the 2 blocks, I've already basically said that, but the idea is that with this double degree, actually you can integrate, okay, at IFM the core year, so our last year. So you said it's a partnership, so it's like an exchange, as Anaïs said. So you do your first year, and then the second year you can complete it at Institut Français de la Mode. We were talking about the program. I'm talking a business case. Business case, you can see you have examples in this slides of business case we did last year. So you see it's pretty interesting with Dior, with the LVMH group, and in particular with Louis Vuitton. We did a case, a very interesting case on watches, and Dior was on digital. With L'Oreal, because don't forget that when we say fashion, we see also everything which is around fashion and accessories, and also beauty and cosmetics is part of it. Okay, so we have also business case with L'Oreal and with Shiseido. And for the more, I would say, product part, there was Louboutin. This year, that was last year. This year, actually, we have more or less the same players. In addition to that, we have also Celine. So there are always very nice collaborations going on with really interesting and I say, yeah, up-to-date topics that the students need to explore. So we're just starting right now the brief for the business cases that will be presented later on during the year, and students are very excited to work with that companies. I already spoken about the 6 months end of study internship, of the study trips, and courses. We said that are lectures and experiential learning. And to give you a more detailed idea, we have what we call modules or teams, more or less 8 main teams or modules. So there is a block which is history and culture of fashion. Okay, it's particularly really important to understand the history of fashion, the culture of fashion, internationally, also France-based. So it's a highly appreciated module in general by management students. Then we have a module which is called products from concept to market. So we explore different categories of products in fashion. Then I would say the key, the pillars of management, marketing, branding, communication, but applied to fashion and luxury. So in a very specific, you might have already had this kind of courses. However, at Institut Français de la Mode, they are applied to our sector, as well as distribution and retail, which is very specific in the fashion industry, and even finance, strategy, supply chain, and operation applied to the fashion sector. We also have a very I would say quite new module, but which raises a lot of interest, which is innovation, sustainability, and technology. And in this module, you really deal with the sustainability issues, which are huge concerns right now. And as you know, the textile industry is a huge impact in that respect. But also technology and innovation, as well as entrepreneurship. Okay, so we have a module which is very complete and touches the different aspects which are actually related. And last but not least, we have a more soft skills module about leadership and career development, So in this module, actually, there are different kind of, there are not really courses, just there are a few courses about leadership, team management, which are useful because actually as a future manager in fashion, you need to work with very different, you will need to work with the very different type of people, even with the, you know, the creative people and that are in the same school. So we have this, and then we hold the career development workshop with the career director. We work hand in hand to help you building your CVs, train you for interviews, having workshop together. So this is this soft skill module really completes the courses. We have, thanks to our partnership, the opportunity to have really testimonies from high top executives from fashion houses. This is the ones we just had in the last months. So in October we welcome virtually, unfortunately, but normally it can be done in our amphitheater, but this time it was in distance. Sydney Toledano, as you know, from LVMH Fashion Group, who also had the CEO of Chanel, Bruno Pavlovsky, and Guillaume de Seine from MS. So these are open to all students at IFM, management students, but also creative design students. Okay, and of course there are more to come all over the year in terms of testimonies. I also wanted to let you know, because it's also open to you, when you will be integrated in school, you will be an all-fact IFM student, so you can take all the opportunities that the school offers to you. And we have just put together this year 2 exclusive certificates, one in fashion entrepreneurship and one in fashion sustainability. So these are, what is interesting about these certificates is that okay, they're on a voluntary basis. It's in addition to your actually courses. So there's quite a big amount of hours in the evening. Normally 50 hours of courses in the workshop that are, right now it's Tuesday evening from 6:30, I think, to 8:30. What's interesting is they're very selective. So each certificates can enroll right now only 30 students. So these 30 students really work on specific projects. Sometimes these selected students have already a project on their own in entrepreneurship. So they've set up, or they have a company or an idea, or in sustainability. And the second thing, which is very, I think, very important, is that there are inter-programs. So you'll be also together in this class of 30 students, to be together with students from design, for instance, also from the other management program, which is in French. These 2 certificates are fully in English. The one in sustainability has been developed in collaboration with the Caring Group. We have a chair of sustainability at IFM that has been created last year together with Caring. So with also testimonies from Caring and Safety. And almost to end this presentation, since we were talking about the courses, and I've talked a little bit about how the internship, which is mandatory, and how our partners help. You can see actually in these slides and examples of internship of last year. So it's there is a huge variety. It depends also what you're interested in. Career for our students, it's a year where you dig into what you like. You understand in which direction you want to go, and we help you, as again I said, together with the career department, maybe to find what you kind of position you're really interested. So it could be product development. Some students have more appetite for the product, or have a background. This is not your case, but also we have students that have a bachelor in design and then come to IFM for management. And so when you have more I would say, developed appetite for product, you can have an interest in product development, but also as well in merchandising and visual merchandising, in press relation and communication. digital, a lot, communication or merchandising, in wholesale, in buying, in planning. So we have really different positions in different type of companies, as you see, going from Givenchy, L'Oréal, to Saint Laurent, Vuitton. You can read in this list, which is not exhaustive, it's just an example, many names that you have seen in the list of our partners before. And Anaïs before was reminding you the dates and the calendar on our side. Yes, as we said, it's still quite a new program. It's going to be the third year, Anaïs, if I'm not wrong, that goes on. So we have 3 spots. Okay, it's an exchange. So we have 3 students coming from USCP, and we'll also have our 3 students from IFM going to SP. So it's really an exchange. Only 3 spots, unfortunately. You're going to integrate, as you've seen, a quite small. IFM, it's big for fashion management, but it's still as we call it, a family. I mean, you have 62 students in your class. You have 100 students in the MSc together with the first year, and in the whole school, if we put together the know-how and the design and creativity students, we have, I think, plus the MBA and the summer school, around 700 students. Okay, so you can apply. Afterwards, we have what's going to happen. You're going to be already selected by your school, and then there's going to be another selection on our side, because as I said, well, we have 3 students. So I'm going to see you. You're going to send your dossier, and then I am going with another member of the school. Could be a professor, or very often our executive director, which she's really implied in in recruiting, beginning of March. So we'll be having interviews from around the week of from the 1st to 5th of March, and later on, like a week after, you're going to know if you can join us. And right now we have, and I've just seen one of them this morning at school. We have 3 students from USCP, Clara, Alice, and Alex. And actually, that might be also a good idea if you have specific question from student sides, maybe to contact them. I'm sure they will be willing to give you more informations about how they perceive the program and the experience they're doing, even if this year is quite peculiar. So I guess it's all on my side, and right now I'm open for questions, unless Anaïs and Hélène have something to add.
So we have some questions about the admissions process. Maybe could you give a few more details about this interview, for example? So first, like, they have to complete like a file. So are there any essays that they have to write, for example? And also for the interview, can you give a few tips on how what they should expect and how they can prepare for this?
Well, they have a dossier that I have to complete, but for USCP as well, with curriculum and grades, and then they have to write not an essay, but they have to answer to some questions which are specific. You have to answer to some questions which are specific to, for instance, your motivation and your relationship with fashion. Okay, because if you want to apply, you might have a specific reason, maybe you have a project, maybe you have a specific history with the fashion. So you want to understand why, why fashion, not just because I like it or because it's interesting. So that's important. So, and then if you get to the final interview, the interview lasts an hour, more or less. And it's structured the following way. Well, you receive, I would say, 15 minutes before the interview, a topic, okay, very general on fashion. It could be, give you an example, do you think fashion shows are still relevant today? Okay, so you have 15 minutes to prepare it, and then we will listen to you for like 5 minutes. So the idea is to see how you elaborate. We see also analytical skill, capacities to structure and everything. And if in a specific related topic related to fashion. And then we have just a session of normal interviews where we go through your CVs, we go to your application, we go into details of if you have experiences, anything. And it really depends, but basically it's just to know you, to understand why you want to come. It's why there are always two of us. So we have a balanced view on the profile of each student.
Okay, so there are indeed like some additional questions about like this, like the selection. So obviously students need to have a project in fashion. They have to explain why they want to do this dual degree. Do they absolutely need to have a previous experience, like an internship or something? No, they don't have to, but they have to be able to motivate their decision.
No, because it's a bit different for you ESCP students. You haven't chosen to do a fashion school, so we don't expect you to have an experience in fashion. It's a bit different from for our, let's say, normal students which go to the normal admission. We tend to privilege, of course, students which have already an experience in fashion, even though it can happen, they don't have. So you really, but it's quite rare. But for you, no, we don't. If you have, it shows, because why it's important, because it shows that you have an interest. It shows that you have done something already, you know, that, you know, there is a kind of fil rouge, and then you have tried. And if it's just working in a boutique, but if you don't, and you can show somehow else that you have a real interest and passion, it's okay, but it's not mandatory to have a previous experience in fashion field.
Okay, very good. There are some questions here, like more for the ESCP side. When students need to apply, like first of all, let's make it very clear, like the schedule. If they're in M1 and they want to do a gap year, they will actually apply during the gap year, right?
Exactly. They need to apply just the year before they want to enter the program. So if you want to apply to do the program after the gap year, you apply during the gap year. If you want to apply to do the program just after M1, then you need to apply during the M1.
Okay, so we had a question about this. You cannot start your M2 and then decide to do the dual degree. It's not, you have to decide beforehand and apply the year before actually doing the dual degree, because it replaces the M2.
Exactly, it replaces the entire M2, so you cannot apply if you already started the M2, because it replaced the whole year.
Okay. Do you know how many, so there are 3 like spots per year. Do you know how many ESCP students apply each year?
It's a very recent program, so we don't have so much students who apply, but for the last 2 years, I think it was around 10 to 15 students who applied, who were eligible. I mean,
exactly.
who had the conditions.
There were 10 last year.
Yeah. 10 yeah, okay.
Exactly. I can confirm I've looked into the data. Yeah.
All right, we lost you for a moment here.
I'm back. Yes, I think I'm back now. It's just
okay.
Normally it's okay. It was I don't alert that my connection was not great, but now it looks okay.
Okay, could you just repeat what you said?
I said I confirmed the data that Anais just said, that we had in the past 2 years around 10-15, between 10 and 15 students applying for 3 spots. So yeah.
Okay, let's say like a 20% ish acceptance rate. So yes, yeah, students have to understand that this is a competitive path, and so they have to prepare well for the interview.
Yes.
Since the dual degree is entirely in English, do ESCP students need an English test? So either like IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC. Do they need to prepare for that?
Yes, we either you have at least 3 years of, let's say, of studies, full English. So if you had already 3 years of education in English, we don't require that. Otherwise, yeah, we tend to ask TOEFL and exactly to have that.
Okay, very good.
Like any other test, yes.
Okay. For the, it's more, I guess, once again, for the ESCP sides, like, so on top of the essays that they have to write, what kind of documents do they need for the application? So the essays and the English test, otherwise, like grade transcript or?
CV, covering letter, the 3 essay questions, and transcript. M1
yes,
included.
exactly.
Okay.
And all this information about the application file, it is in the intranet. For those who haven't looked already, so on the intranet you have dedicated part for dual degrees in France, and you have a specific page for the IFM dual degree, where you have the information with the documents you have to provide that were just listed by Jamila, and the date where you have to send it, and the contact at ESCP, who is Jamila. So you can find it on the intranet MIM program, dual degrees in France.
That's right.
There are a few like specific questions about like what is required or what is preferable like to be selected for the program. So we have someone who asked if it's required to have a deep understanding of the concept of fashion. Someone who asks is it an advantage to have a certificate in sewing? Like all this, I expect that anything is an advantage, right?
Again, anybody has a peculiar and specific history with fashion or not. I mean, if you don't, I don't think you will apply. But anything, because as I said, IFM is management, is design, is know-how, so it really can be anything. And in our program, we have students, which a part of our students comes from business schools, another part comes from design schools, and then even there is a bit, they're more rare, but we have students that have come from political science, architectures, for instance, and so it's really, we're really open, and I think that what makes the program rich. So don't worry, anything is valuable. It's not, there is no degree in having work. We'll see, and you're not just. I mean, it's important to prove that you have an interest in fashion, but it's the whole candidate that we are assessing. So anything can be sewing, as work in a boutique, as with any different examples. So
yes,
don't worry.
It's a question that students often have when they want to apply for something that is quite selective. I said, if I have this experience, is it an advantage? And that's what you need to understand when you apply, is that anything can be an advantage. Like we cannot say that just this or that will make you sure that you are selected. It's just that you have to bring all your experiences, and you have to be able to show that they added something to your application. You have to be able to show that, yes, I did this because I was interested, and this proves that I am the right candidate for you. And this applies to any selected path that you will apply to.
Yes, and then that we actually will, and the point is that IFM will be kind of a natural, continuity of your track somehow, even if you're not student in fashion, but it would make sense for you and for us. It's not just, okay, let's jump into fashion then, you know, because most of the time students, USCP students, that again, we don't have a lot of history with the program, with this exchange, but they tend to stay in that sector after the intro. So they're really motivated, they really want to stay that. So it makes sense, you know, for us and for you to continue. It's not just an experience I jump in and I jump out. And that's why we really value any experience, and we look at your CV and everything as a whole, and we talk to you because we just want to understand if it makes sense for you as well, and for us, because then afterwards the objective is that you are employable, that, you know, you can go and work for these companies we were talking to.
Exactly. There is a question about the gap year. So you don't have to do a gap year during, like, before applying to the dual degree. The only thing that you need to keep in mind for ECP students is that you will need to have at least 36 weeks of professional experience to graduate. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the internships that you will do, like, for the IFM will count in these 36 weeks. So you just have to make sure that you have in total at least 36 weeks to graduate. So if after the IFM you don't have this amount, well, you will have to do another internship after this in order to have yes, at least 36.
Yes, yes, exactly. So so yes, the gap year is not mandatory, but you may have a previous professional experience that can be taken into account as well. You may have professional experience in between pre-master year and M1 if you are from the pre-master year admission. You may have also professional experience in between M1 and M2 if you do the M2 or the dual degree just after the M1. If you miss a few weeks, you can also take them after the whole program, at the end of the whole program, after your last internship at IFM. Of course, we take into account the internship you would do for IFM. It's both for IFM and for ESCP, and you have to keep in mind that you have a total of 4 years to fulfill the program. So you can apply if you are doing a 1 year gap year, but if you took more than 1 year, well, it depends on your situation, but it should be shorter at the time that remains to fulfill the master in management, because you have a total of 4 years to fulfill the MIM obligations.
Okay. Anaïs, can we just precise again, like if they want to do the dual degree during the M1, they have to do at least 1 semester outside of Paris. It's not, they don't have to do both, but they have to do at least 1.
A minimum 1.
Exactly. We accept students doing only 1 semester out of Paris. You know that for the MIM program, the validation of the MIM program, you should do 2 semesters maximum on the same campus. When you apply to a dual degree in France, we consider it Paris in terms of semesters, but we have an exception. We give an exception for students, allowing them to apply even if they did only 1 semester out of Paris. But we will not accept students who did the whole M1 in Paris. That's the only thing indeed. We cannot accept students who did Paris for M1. And as you see, it's a competitive selection because we have a number of students who want to apply. So we will only consider students who fulfill the obligations.
Okay. There is a question about the application deadline, because in the presentation we said that the interviews were at the beginning of March, but like, yes, we already know the dates, like on the ESCP site, to submit their application?
Yes, exactly. So the applications on the ESCP side have to be submitted on January 29th. because first we review the application at ESCPs and just to check that you are eligible, that all the conditions are okay on the ESCP side. Then we provide it to IFM, and they have an admission jury before contacting you for the interviews, so it takes time. So we need to have your applications on January 29th at the latest at ESCP.
Right. There is a specific question about someone who is a high-level athlete, and he asks if he can apply. I guess that nothing prevents him. It's just that he has to make sure that he will have time to do everything, I guess, because we have a special track at, like, not a track, but an entrance path at ESCP for high-level athletes. But I imagine that, yes, the schedule at the IFM is already quite heavy, right?
Yes. What was the question exactly? If he has time for...
Like, can he apply as a high-level athlete?
Yes, of course.
I guess, but I think like the implication is that he should not expect his timetable to be adapted to his training.
No.
Because that's often what they have in mind.
No,
like,
okay, I'm sorry. I have no, there's no possibility of adapting. I mean, we do a lot of customization, especially right now. Some students here, some students distance, but no, we cannot adapt for that. Unfortunately, the same track, plus we have groups. I mean, it's going to be too complicated, especially for experiential learning, and you know, so it would be, that would not be possible to adapt the schedule to him or to her, to a specific situation.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like, and that really goes for all students. Since this is such a competitive path, you have to make sure that you will be able to handle the workload. I mean, like, you not take
as I said, yes. And once you are in and you're staying a year with us, you're part of IFM and an IFM student. So you have to, I mean, you go with the rest of the class, and that's how you. I mean, I know who are the 3 ESCP students because there were exchanges with your school, but for the rest, there are students, IFM students.
Okay, exactly.
I think for these students, maybe because I don't know his situation, maybe he stops for a moment the competitive career because of the situation and stuff. I would say there is nothing preventing him to apply, but in the cover letter, in the motivation letter, he should explain his situation in details, and he needs to be totally available for the program at IFM if he wants to apply.
Yeah.
Really totally available.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know, like, for the proportion of, like, when they apply, so they give the transcript and essays and everything, and also the interview, do you have the weight of each thing that we ask for? Like, does the interview count for 50% of the final grade, or like, how does it work?
No, I mean, already if you're interviewing you is because we kind of like you. So then we have, unfortunately, to cut down to 3 places. So that's why we are 2 and sometimes 3 on the jury, so that there is a kind of unanimity, and we all agree that we don't work that way. We want to really assess the candidate as a whole. Okay, so. Okay. First gate is what we can understand from your dossier, but then if you think you are interesting, we really see you, and we have the habit of doing that also with our students. It's more or less the same kind of recruitment process, and that's why we keep it open, because sometimes you don't see everything on written dossier, or sometimes it's very clear, but no, there is no weight on the written and the oral. Afraid maybe it would be more clear, but actually we want a real round and well-rounded assessment of the candidates. And again, I will read all the application, but then I won't be alone for the interview, so which is also important.
Okay, If someone applies directly after the M1, so without doing a gap year, and is refused, is this person allowed to do a gap year and apply again? Or if the person is refused once, is it definitive?
From ESTP side, I would say, well, it's possible. I mean, I don't want to prevent the student from applying, but if the application was not taken into account by IFM the first year, I'm not sure a gap year would change radically the thing. I don't know, Monica, what you think?
I don't know. Again, we don't have a lot of past with the program. Only 2 years. It didn't happen right now that people were not taken reapply. But why not? Everything is possible. But it depends. What did you do with your gap year? You understood. You spent 1 year doing, I don't know, traveling, building your brand. It really depends. Actually, I had students who apply for the program, not ESP students, but like in the normal courses. They applied once and they were rejected, and they applied the second year and we accepted them because they were lacking some maturity. There won't be your case, or they were lacking some experience, and so you can be accepted in theory because we have examples. It really depends what you do with that year. So
anyway, you are authorized.
Yes, you are. We haven't put any veto on that, so yes, you can.
Okay. We have some questions about the grade transcripts, like on the application. So is it only the grades for the M1, or is it like also like from grades from the bachelor? Like what do we ask for on USCP side?
Actually, it's not really from ESCP side. It's more on IFM side. So maybe Monica, you can tell what you are looking.
M1 grades. If you have all the M1 grades, it's okay.
Okay. And is there like a minimum requirement, like a minimum average that you want, or in certain subjects? I don't know.
It's a secret. It depends. Again, no. We have very good grades in general from our students. So if I mean for our for normal courses, it's not, it's less than 20% of acceptance of students. So we have really good grades. But it's not the only criteria, but having good grades means that you are hardworking, that you're good, you're just a great student, that you are involved. So, I mean, so I don't have, actually, to be honest, I don't have, and it really depends on 1 year to another. And again, but yes, you really need to have good grades, otherwise more difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would add two things. I would add two things. You have to validate the whole M1 before going to IFM. So if you are applying and you already have any courses to take as a result, it's not a good sign. And it's a competitive selection because you are ranked among students, right? Because we only have 3 seats. So again, yes, you need to the best grade you show, the better you are in a position to be selected.
Yes. I just wanted to add something about the TOEFL, or anyway the English certificates, if you need to provide it. Since you have to apply quite soon, I mean, you can provide us with the TOEFL later on. If you, for instance, if you get your interviews and you're selected, already we will be talking English, sure, but you can provide it a bit later if you cannot have it, namely for your school application, which is the 29th of January. So for us, it's a bit later, but you can have time later to add it. We'll be very careful, and Kevin we will remind you that you need to provide us with the certificate, but we will have more time because there are some specific dates, and sometimes you can't. I mean, you can't move them, so that's possible.
Okay, very good. And just the last question, someone is asking about contacting the current ESCP students studying in the dual degree. Jamila, confirm. So we had two students who gave us their email, their name and email address. Jamila, is it going to be put on the internet?
It's already done.
Okay, so it's on the internet. You have a lot of information there, so please consult the internet for all this information. And then only if you don't find this information, you can send an email to Jamila. You have her email address, but it's very complete on the internet.
Yes, and talk to your colleagues who are currently right now at IFM. I think it's a very good idea to have their experience and their feedback, even if it's a bit peculiar this year, but still.
Of course, it's important. Okay, so I think we are done with this webinar. So I want to thank our colleagues from the IFM for this presentation. We were able to answer a lot of questions from students that were really interested. And obviously a big thank you to my colleagues Anais and Jamila, who were also able to answer students' questions. So you will receive the replay video of this information session within 24 to 48 hours. So you will be able to review this presentation. So yes, I wish you a very nice day.
Thank you all. It was very nice.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.